told you,
People
cutter.
seen it, but they just don't know. People seen it, but they just don't know. People,
Let's go.
people seen it, but they just don't know. People seen it, but they
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Yanni, and we're here on 910 Sports TV once again. You know what I'm saying? First and foremost, want to thank God for this opportunity to be able to come on here and come on this great platform to be able to do great things. You know what I'm saying? I got my right hand man, Mr. Dak Prescott and Justin Fields, new agent for 2025. My man Jacob the Great. What's going on, fam?
Man, what's up? What's up, man? Just glad to be here in the land of the living, man, and get ready to talk about some of these sports headlines and whatnot, and we here, man.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt. So, so we get into, so you said first before we talk about, you want to talk about the landscape in college basketball right now and why
Yeah,
you said why the SEC has been able to dominate this year.
yeah.
So,
They really been able to dominate for the last several years. You know what I mean? You can see the 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 ranks that they were going up. Because they was starting to be in the top 25 and then top 15, then top 10. So. Why did you think that the ACC and the Big East and and like the Big Ten and other schools like UCLA and Arizona and schools like that ain't really cause it was some schools out there you look forward to seeing what they had on their roster, because they know they had a good basketball program. And now it's kind of
yeah.
like changed. So what happened for it to change? Like, ain't nobody never thought no Auburn and no Alabama would have no good basketball team, bro.
Well, I think what happened is okay. First and foremost, you look at Tennessee. Tennessee has kind of been that team outside of Kentucky that's been knocking on the door ever since they had Schofield and they had what's the name Grant Williams. So if you look at those days, Tennessee has been that team that's been kind of knocking on the door for the last several years. Now Alabama for the last couple of years they've been building a good program, and I can't remember exactly the name of the coach's name, but they got a pretty decent coach down there in Alabama. And I think the biggest thing for the SEC, if you look at it, you look at Arkansas having Calipari now. You look at like I said, you have Tennessee's got a good coach. Florida got good coaching, and these teams start so they'll be able to recruit a little bit better than they have over the years before that, and kind of get back to where they need to be in the pecking order as far as those teams to be able to build and grow and to get where they need to be. Now, when it comes to some of those West Coast teams, I think what happens is the reason why some of those West Coast teams aren't thriving as much as they could be is because the realignment of all these conferences. I think it's kind of confusing because if you think about it, Stanford and California is in the ACC. Why? It's called the Atlantic Coast Conference. It's called Atlantic Coast Conference for a reason because it's on the Atlantic Coast. You know what I'm saying? It's not on the Pacific Coast. Pacific Coast is on the West Coast. So why is it two? Because my thing, I was thinking about this earlier. I think they need to. When I thought about this yesterday watching the game, I think Maryland needs to be back in the ACC. Maryland was Duke and Carolina, some of the biggest rival, Virginia. Why is Maryland over in the Big East? You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. They need to be back. They need to move. A lot of people don't think Miami should be in the ACC. They should have never left I think they was in was it the Big East, so they was in not the Big East. I
Yeah, yeah,
forgot the
yeah, yeah.
conference.
They was in the Big East because they used to play Syracuse all the time.
Yeah, so they was in a whole different conference, and a lot of people don't think they should have never left that conference. Or if anything, Miami should have been in one of those teams that should have went to the SEC because regionally it makes more sense than them to be in the ACC. And really they don't really fit. They really never have, other than them playing. They could still play Florida State every year and have that rivalry. But as far as them playing the rest of the ACC teams, Miami's never really fit in the ACC. You know what I mean? At all. So, so, but that's what I feel about it. I just think the realignment of all these conferences and they putting these teams, some teams on certain in the wrong conferences, and then now you don't really have that rivalry that people care about no more because they done kind of destroyed the alignment of college basketball of college sports.
Yeah, it's a proposal that Clemson's supposed to come over to the SEC, which that proposal was put in. They was talking about that over 10 years ago. So I don't really know if that happened, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did happen.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it happening. It kind of makes sense. I think for Clemson, it'd be more competitive for them because Clemson is kind of in a conference where there's no really competitive balance. You might get one other team that kind of competes with them, but if Clemson gets back to what Clemson is really supposed to be at the top of college football, there's no team. Only team that right now that would probably I would say two teams over the next couple of years if it keeps going the way it's going. Miami and with Bill Belichick being in North Carolina, they about to run they about to run rough shot because all of a sudden if you watch North Carolina, they getting a lot of big time recruits, and they even getting recruits that weren't supposed to go somewhere else who decommitted and coming to Carolina. So if Bill Belichick, if he sticks around for a few years and let them really develop that program, then don't be surprised if you see North Carolina in the playoffs in the next couple of years.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? So you know how it is college football. It all boils down to who your quarterback is. If you
yeah,
got a halfway decent quarterback, you can make some noise. But you know, nothing else. Bill Belichick gonna have that defense right. If he don't
yeah.
got nothing else on that, he gonna have that defense right.
I
You know what I'm
heard that.
saying? So
I heard that Arch Manning might be transferred to North Carolina.
what after this year coming up?
Uh
Because
huh.
Um, I don't think it makes sense for him. First of all, he gonna get more NIL money, and he's gonna be on a bigger stage in Texas because he's from that side of the country. His family's from that New Orleans, Texas area, and that's all. That's what people, everybody know them out there. And you know, the NIL number, the NIL money is a way deeper in Texas there would ever be in North Carolina, especially on the football side. So it wouldn't make any sense for him to leave Texas.
Yeah, yeah.
You
I
know what I mean?
understand that. I understand. But back to basketball, man. I had no idea until I watched the last half of the NCAA, men's basketball. I had no idea that Auburn was that good. I had no idea, bro. I was like, cause
Well,
I ain't really never watched no Auburn in basketball, bro. Like Auburn in basketball, like what? I mean, I know Auburn had fell off a little bit doing football, but for a long time in football, Auburn was really, 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 really good. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so,
Oh yeah, they have
so
their years.
yeah, so and now in basketball, man, you talking about Auburn, who? Oh, Tigers basketball team?
Well, you know they got the first of all, last year you talked about the coming up with the SEC. Last year Auburn was a top seeded team that got knocked off early, and they should have went deeper. And two, they got a guy I forgot his first name, but his last name is Broom, and
I know
he's
who you talking
considered
about.
probably
You
he,
talking about the light
yeah.
skinned fella? I know it. I like to you what I'm talking
Yeah, he's considered like the number two best player in the country behind Cooper Flag. And, you know, and depending on who you talk to, some people think he might even end up being his upside might be higher than Cooper Flag. But he
Well,
definitely
it's a few people I kind that think the guy out of Rutgers is better than him and Cooper Flat, but he just don't get enough TV time.
yeah. That's why I said I guess some guys must be from New York for them to go to Rutgers. I never understood if you that type if you that guy, why would you pick Rutgers of all schools? But they must be from that area. That's the only way I can think. But anyway, we're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back here on 910 Sports. Okay, we back. We back here on 910 Sports. We talking about college football, the landscape of the tournament, and why all of a sudden the SEC has become the juggernaut. So I mean, we'll see because I'm not even gonna front. I'm gonna keep it with this 910 Sports. So we're gonna keep it a bean on here. Do I think Duke got a legit chance to win a championship? I do. At one time, I didn't think early in the season, but the thing about what Duke makes them scary is not even Cooper Flag. What makes Duke scary is they have Cooper Flag don't. And they've been talking about this all week. Cooper Flag don't even have to play great for Duke to win. That's the scary part. You know what I'm saying? He can have an average game because they was like, oh. And the thing about it is, what kills me with Cooper Flag, they hyping him up way too much because he's averaged 16 points in the tournament, and they acting like he averaging 32 points. I'm like, bro, he averaged 16 points in 2 games, and y'all act like this man is, I know he has certain impact on the game, but and he don't have to play because Proctor, the point guard, hit 7 threes yesterday. But at the end of the day, he's not dominating the tournament like some of these other guys, like the guy from what game was I watching last night? And the guy had like 37 points. I think the guy from Oregon. You know what I'm saying? And then you look at the Florida game, the Clayton cat. You know what I'm saying? He came up big time. Kind of remind me like a Devin Booker or somebody, the way he came up big time in the tournament yesterday against Connecticut. I was more impressed by Florida. You know what I'm saying? Beating Connecticut. I ain't gonna lie. I thought Connecticut would end up winning, pulling that game out. I was more impressed by that than anything that Duke is doing right now because they play two basically average teams. But at the same time, do I think they got a legit chance to win? Yeah. I'm hoping you know who the Duke killer is, right? I'm hoping the Duke killer show up this weekend. You know who the Duke killer is, right?
Who that is?
Caleb Love. Remember he was at Carolina. He was the Duke killer. So I'm hoping, you know what I'm saying, when he get when he get with Arizona plays Duke this weekend in the Sweet 16. So I'm hoping he show up and show out and upset Duke this weekend for us.
He's soft behind you. You don't know that.
I mean, I like Caleb Love. I don't think Caleb Love is real inconsistent at times. He can be up and down. But think about Caleb Love when he get hot, you know what I'm saying? He almost unstoppable when he get hot. You know
I'm
what I'm
just
saying? But
upset.
it's just
I'm still upset he left Carolina, bro. And so that's why I'm talking trash. You know what I mean?
I just think it's one of those things where they didn't him between him and RJ Davis, they didn't want to set that shine together. Think about with college players. The college players do not like sharing the spotlight with each other. They just don't like. If you notice, anytime if a big time 5-star recruit comes in or something, the whoever was there before them, especially in this landscape in this era, that other player will go ahead and transfer. Now, what I do like about college basketball, college sports now, they won't just let you transfer after the first time. I think you transfer like one time now because we passed the COVID era. You know what I'm saying? So being that we passed the COVID era, that you can't just keep bouncing from school to school, which I think is a whole lot better than what we've been dealing with the last couple of years with cats just keep transferring over and over again. You know what I mean? And this is what I'm gonna say this too. I think that these players need to get with the right people because some of these players that go pro too early. I'm looking at Ian Jackson for Carolina. I'm looking at Drake Powell for Carolina. Both of them came in as highly touted 5-star players. But, Ian Jackson had a hot streak where he went about 7, 8 games where you thought he was the best, one of the top players in college basketball, but then he kind of tailed off. Drake Powell came on late. So do you really think that y'all ready to go to the NBA? If you're getting NIL money, that means you're taking care of your family. So you don't need to rush and go to the NBA. Let's get back to old school where college players stayed in the league, stayed in college for 3 or 4 years, developed their game. So by the time they got to the NBA, they looked like a Tim Duncan. You know what I'm saying? They look like a Grant Hill where they can go in
Yeah.
day one and dominate or play at a
Mhm.
high level. Whereas a lot of these players going to the NBA the first couple of years and they struggle. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. So I think we definitely need to get back to that. And I think that's the upside to NIL. Because now you can't make the excuse of, well, I gotta go pro because I need the money. No, if you're a top rated player, you're gonna get a couple of 100,000 a year. Some of them getting a million or two a year to stay in college. So at that point, you just work on your game until you truly ready to go. Because with like let's say with Ian Jackson is projected to go second round. Drake Powell is considered not even considered on the board yet. So why would you go pro if you're not even considered to get if you're not to me, I put it to you like this. If you are a young player and if you're not in the lottery part of the draft, I would say stay in college until you put yourself in a projection of being a lottery pick.
Okay, I understand that. But when you said about they want to share the spotlight, we can name several North Carolina players that shared the spotlight and did a great
But
job at it.
yeah, yeah, that's back in the day because the culture was different back in the day. Like the culture of basketball, you know what I'm saying? Unless you got certain coaches like a Dan, I give it to like a Dan Hurley, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about him in a minute. But Dan Hurley, he got a certain culture where his team players love him. He fight for him. You know what I'm saying? You know, Roy Williams had that culture in Carolina. Duke, Coach Hay had that culture in Duke. Jim Boeheim, Bill Self, Tom Izzo. Certain coaches had that culture where it's a team first over player. But I think in this era, you don't have coaches that put that kind of demand on them players where the players kind of all like fight together. It's a lot of individualized players. That's why a lot of them, if they don't, if the 1 year, if whatever they know somebody was coming in, they'll just go ahead and leave instead of competing with that player to keep their spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah, you know how it go, man. As Dick Vitale would say, he can shoot, he can pass, he can jump, he can rebound. He's a Dr. Dandy, baby. You know how Dick
exactly.
Vitale do. You know, yeah, man. He got to be the greatest commentary announcer of college basketball ever, bro.
And they did him dirty. You know why they did him dirty, right?
Why is that?
They they would they stopped letting him commentate Carolina games because they say he was too biased. So they made him stop because they took him off the Carolina games. And to me, I miss him. I know he's been sick the last couple of years with cancer
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever, but I miss Dick Vitale. He's my favorite. Like you said, he's the greatest college basketball commentator of all time. And to me, if you lump him in with greatest commentators of all time, is him, John Madden, um, Pat Summerall, uh, who else you can name? There's a few of them that you can name, but them the three that come to my head at the top
He
is them
he
three
he
right
he
there.
he my favorite, bro. He
Yeah, but
my
Yeah,
favorite.
yeah, Dick Vitale number one to me. I'll put him and John Madden 1 and 1A. Because when John Madden pull out that doggone clip, that doggone chalkboard and start circling players and doing all that crazy stuff, that's it. Yeah. So yeah, I will put them. John Madden and Dick Vitale are the two greatest commentators ever did sports to me. You know what
Right,
I'm
right,
saying?
right, right,
Yeah, yeah.
right. And I got something to say when we come back from break.
All right, we'll go take a quick break. Be right back. All right, we back. We back now on one of sports. What's up?
Now we're gonna take it to football. I love football. You know what I mean? Will Carson Beck take Miami Hurricanes to the playoff this coming year?
I think it's a possibility. The biggest thing with us is we can score. That's not going to be the issue whether or not we can score points. I think
Hmm.
even with Carson Beck being at the helm, it's more or less that we fix that defense. Because we don't, if we didn't fix the defense, it don't matter what we do on the offensive side of the ball. So that's the $1 million question is we only got to be the greatest defense, but we can't be as bad as we was last year, giving up 30, 40 points a game. If we can get it down to about maybe giving up around about 20 points a game, 18 to 20 points, and have a elite offense, then we definitely because you got to think we went 10-2. You know what I'm saying? We really should have been in there. I was kind of mad when the teams they did put in and they got blown. They got the brakes blown off of them. I think when I get who was that they played against? I want to say it was Notre Dame. I think it was Indiana or somebody. I said, man, we would have gave Notre Dame a better game than they did. So I just think that yeah, I think this year we definitely the thing about us hurting that's gonna hurt us and it hurts us. It hurts teams like Clemson. Clemson not so much because Clemson got a sort a history. Is our conference. Our conference is what's hurting us because we only gonna play like a couple of games in the regular season. That's gonna give us a legit game, and then we play all these ACC teams that's garbage. That's not helping us at all. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Whether we beat them or not. So that's the biggest the hurdle right there is trying to find the right mix of all out of conference games and beating the teams we're supposed to beat. You know what I mean? So
I can
that's what
dig
I
it.
would
I
look
can
at.
dig it.
Um,
And,
yeah. So
and another question, man. Do you think that Notre Dame coach will be a legendary coach in college football if he stays?
who Freeman?
Yeah,
I mean, what makes you legendary? You got to win a national title. The issue with Notre Dame is, see, the thing about Notre Dame need to figure out if they're gonna get in the conference or not. At this point, they need to be in the ACC, and it's like they use us like we the side chick or something. Either you gonna date us for real, and marry us, or you gonna or go on about your way. You know what I'm saying? Quit playing around with us. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired. I'm tired of courting you for 5, 10 years, and you ain't putting no ring on it or nothing. You know what I'm saying? You ain't
yeah.
introduce me to your mama, your uncle, your dad, or nobody. You know what I'm saying? So you need to go ahead and introduce me to your mama and then make this thing official. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at Notre Dame. They playing around with our emotions and they use us to get wins or whatever so they can get into the national championship, the national playoffs. But I like Freeman. I like Freeman a lot. You know what I mean? I think Freeman will end up leaving Notre Dame before he probably win a national championship at Notre Dame. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's what I really believe. You know,
Can
whether it's going
Deion
to the
Sanders
NFL or another college team.
I guess we'll see this year if Deion can really coach.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely Dion. But see, the crazy thing about it is now Dion got the number one, number two quarterback out of high school in the country.
That's true.
So it's not like he got that excuse of a lot of times when your best players leave, they give you that transitional year, they give you that rebuild year. Dion don't really got a rebuild year because he got the best quarterback in the country coming to Colorado next year. So people would still expect them to come out and still win. So I mean, we'll see. Like you said, we're gonna see if he can really coach because this is the first time in Dion's career as being a coach that he done has one of his sons on his team. So we'll definitely see if he can coach. That's just like Shador going to the NFL. Can Shador really play out in another system outside with his and I ain't gonna say necessarily. I'll say this. I don't really think Deion Sanders really has a system himself. What Deion is more of a delegator. He hires the coaches that he's comfortable with, and he lets them dictate the offense, the defense, and he's just the overseer of everything. But as far as X's and O's and making calling plays and a certain type of offense or defense, I don't think that's really Deion's strong suit. His is about
Okay.
recruiting and coaching these boys up. You know what I'm saying through talking to them and teaching them, and he let the coaches focus on the X's and O's.
All right.
So that may
So
benefit. Yeah.
so what type of move do you really think it was a great move to hire Marshall Faulk as the running back coach?
What down in Colorado?
Yeah,
Why not? You dealing with one of the greatest and most versatile running backs to ever play the game. You got Marshall Faulk. You got LaDainian Tomlinson. Nobody, don't two. We
excuse
talk
me.
when we talk about greatest running backs. Of course, we talk about Jim Brown. We talk about Barry Sanders. We talk about Walter Payton. But Earl Campbell, Ed, Eric Dickerson. But when you talk about versatility, Nobody was more versatile than Marshall Faulk and LaDainian Thomas. That could do everything on all levels of football as a running back. So why wouldn't you want to learn from somebody like Marshall Faulk? You know what
Okay,
I'm saying?
I can dig it, man. I can dig it. But Dion lost everything. Not only the quarterback, but he losing all his receivers. I think the only
Horn
one
left
might,
too, or Horn? Yeah, okay,
yeah, on the draft. I think the only one might come back is Webster. I think.
okay.
You know what I
I
mean?
mean, but recruiting wise, I mean, I know it was a couple of cats that didn't get much time on the field that looked, I think, played every now and then sparingly. They looked decent when I watched a
Hmm.
couple of games, but I think it's just about thing about receiver in college football. It's not that really. It's not if we when you got a program that's used to getting good receivers and fast receivers. I don't think it's hard to replenish the receiver position. That's probably the easiest position to replenish in college football is the wide receiver position. You know what I mean? That's why by the time they get to the NFL, you usually get probably 5 to 10 receivers. You get receivers in the third or fourth round. They end up being, you know what I'm saying, great. Look at the receiver from the Rams. Wasn't he like a fifth or sixth round pick?
You
Puka
talking about the
Nakua?
yeah, he's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, so you can get great talent, you know what I'm saying, way in the draft, later in the draft. You don't have to necessarily be a first round
That
pick.
I can't that's unfair because once I read up on the Nakua Puka whatever man whatever his name is he was a great football player, a great basketball player, a great baseball player, a great track and field. Like he had multiple scholarships in all categories. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? So that means he's a very athletic and agile type dude. And
So what you mean is not fair? Not fair about what?
like it's bound to happen if for a person that's that like Tio. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Play everything in high school. So it's very likely for you to get a receiver like that. But it's not likely for you to get a receiver like Smith or at Ohio State.
Hmm.
Now I can tell you now, if he was able to leave after his first year, bro, he would have been number one draft pick.
Who's that?
The receiver from Ohio State,
Oh, you talking about I forgot
Isaiah
his first name. Yeah,
Isaiah
it's
Smith.
not Isaiah. It's
No,
not
no, no,
Isaiah. It's something else.
no, it's Jeremiah.
Jeremiah Smith. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're right. Like that Joker right there is a beast. Like, and the crazy part about it is, I don't think he eligible to leave after his sophomore year. He got to wait till his junior year to leave.
Him
You know what I'm
and
saying?
him and the receiver for Alabama.
Yeah. So oh yeah. Williams, Ryan Williams. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And so speaking of that, man, since we're on college football, let's talk about Jalen Milroe's pro day. I can't
hmm
listen, man. Listen, man. I was drinking something to drink. I almost put it all over me. When them people came on TV, I was watching some man, one of the sports shows, and when they showed him what he ran in the 40, man, what a 4.3? I
mm.
mean, and he was moving, boy. When I say that rascal was moving, man,
Who you talking about?
like
Ryan Williams or Jeremiah? Oh, you talking about
no, Milrow, Milrow.
Milrow? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
boy,
heard about that. I
listen,
heard about that.
listen, man. He had a great pro day as well, and so he on the clock. I don't know what they can do to get him, but Mike Tomlin said he'll love to have him.
I mean, well, that even though he on the clock, he's still not projected to go until like later in the first round. I don't think so.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
might
yeah,
end up
yeah.
falling to the Steelers. You know, he might fall to the Steelers because they don't look. They look at him as more like a still a project or somebody they have to develop for a year or two. So a lot of teams not gonna really want to touch him. Not in the first round, no way. Then he more of like a second round type
Mm.
talent or whatever. So I think that's what's gonna happen. So he might fall to the Steelers or somebody like later in the first round. You know what I mean, or whatever. So we'll see how that go. because a lot of these players, it's about where you end up, going to the
Well,
right team that can develop you right.
I just think that he even though he was at Alabama, I feel like he was often overlooked. You
Hmm.
was you was often overlooked because you didn't have Nick no more. Nick
Yeah.
made you know like I don't know this new coach they had, man. Man, I guess he had Tony Tiger call the play because boy,
Shoot.
listen, man, he ain't really look poised. He looked like he know what he was doing. So I don't know, man. But it's gonna be interesting. And so Justin Fields got him a deal, 2 year for
Mhm.
46 million. And so we gonna see what happens.
How much you getting out of that?
Hey man, go ahead, man. I'm just I'm just
Mhm.
here to make the announcement, man.
Yeah, they're gonna
That's
give you
all.
at least 2%. But
Yeah,
anyway, we're gonna take a quick
man.
break. We'll be right back. Well, we back on here on 910 Sports. With Justin Fields' new agent, Jacob the
Hey,
Great.
man. Hey, man, there you go, man. There you go. Hey man, I'm glad to see the brother, get his bag, man. Like you know what I mean? So I
Get his
mean,
bag, boy. Hey, ain't nobody campaign for him and Dak more than you, boy. I swear.
hey, man,
I hear.
and so we got Sir Prescott coming back off injury. Um he's projected to get another bag. Um I think that bag is projected for about 310 million. So I mean, I don't know how that will work with Jerry or what he coming up with the money at, but and Michael Parsons said he want 40 million a year. You know what I
Well,
mean?
you know what's gonna happen is people like Jerry gonna keep kicking the can down the road. So here we they just restructured that, just restructured CD. You know what I'm saying? And CD just got his deal with last year. He done restructured already. So, he gonna keep restructuring and keep kicking that can down the road where it'll be 10 years from now, he still be playing Dak and CD Lamb. You know what I'm saying? Kicking the can down the road. So that's the way a lot of these teams do is just they just keep moving the money around until they have to pay it until they can't move it no more and finally pay them. That's why a lot of players will be damn near retired and still getting the check. You know what I'm
And
saying?
so
So
and the Twitter and the Twitter rant is going on between Michael Parsons and Tank Lawrence. So Tank Lawrence said, "I love Dallas. I love the city. I love the playing with the organization, but I want to win a championship, and I don't feel like I can do that in Dallas." And Michael Parsons got offended.
where did Marcus
And
Lawrence go again?
Seattle,
He ain't won no championship in Seattle either.
I don't
So he
know.
don't want to win championship that bad. Because he ain't win no championship in Seattle. Like Seattle barely got a quarterback. Who matter of fact, they don't even got a quarterback, do they?
Yeah,
Geno
they
Smith
they
left.
they
So who's
they
the quarterback?
signed they signed Sam Darnold, I think 4 years for 146 million.
And we really think Sam Darnold gonna get him to the Super Bowl. Come on now, stop playing.
I
We're gonna stop
mean,
playing these
I'm
white
I'm
folks.
I'm 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 just here reporting the news, man. Hey, listen,
I
man.
mean, I get what you're saying, but
He
Dom
said
Law,
that.
if he would have went to Buffalo or people went hell, if he went to Houston, I would have made him. And he said he want to win a championship. I would have more. If that's the case, Demarcus Lawrence probably could have went to Washington if he really want to feel like if he want to take it that seriously. You know what I'm saying? Because I think we maybe, if anything, I say we know more. I think if we keep going the way we going, we should be in the Super Bowl. I ain't gonna say next year, but the year after. If we keep going in the same direction we going.
And Parsons said, hey, man, really? Like, based on where you went, that ain't a, that's not a logical statement. And they just went back and forth, boy. A whole
Yeah.
Twitter rant, a whole Twitter rant, and I says, fella, stop it, man.
Hmm.
We ain't gonna win nothing with Jerry, and you definitely ain't gonna win nothing in Seattle because it rains so much. Y'all can't see the football. Laugh out loud.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
and then on to more shinier news, man. I would love to see what Jaden Daniels do in his second year.
Yeah.
Is this a hoax, or is this the real deal Holyfield? It's gonna be very interesting to see if he can pick up that PSN again and do even something more spectacular. You know what I mean? Because he thought
Well,
because he already defied all the odds. For his rookie
let's
season,
see.
he defied all the odds.
To me, I don't think it's about him doing more. I think it's about him just being consistent in what he already does. Because that's not fair to say, well, can he do more? Because he did so much already. To me, it's just about being consistent in what he does because I think the talent is going to be better around him this year. So he doesn't gonna have to do as much as far as they depended so much on him to do everything. So I think the talent is definitely going to be better on the offense and the defensive side of the ball. So I think that's the biggest thing or whatever. And it's funny because I thought you was about to say something else. I thought you was about to bring up George Foreman, and I was listening today, and I said something I didn't even realize. They said it was a point with his George Foreman grills that George Foreman was making had made as much as he was making $8 million a week in George from selling George Foreman grills off of the royalties. I said that's crazy. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But rest in peace to bad to the big guy George
Yeah.
Foreman, who
Hmm.
he the one who defied the odds when he came back at the age of 40 to boxing. That was never heard of for you to be gone for what dang that 15, 20 years, and he comes back and win a championship. You know what I'm saying, or whatever, after 15 years of being away, or whatever it was. That's never been done before. So he defied the odds, and he kind of at that point you could almost say that George Foreman kind of changed the game of boxing to let people know
Yeah.
that you could come back and be a top boxer, and no matter what. So I think he actually and he came back all fun loving and lovable. And he went from the most hated villain in boxing to most beloved boxer, probably really beloved in the way his character was of all time. Just by his as far as people liking him. I'm not saying like being a
Yeah.
mixed
Yeah.
positive. I'm just saying
Yeah.
about the likability of him.
Yeah.
You
And
know what I'm saying?
then, speaking of boxing, I seen a video clip where Mike Tyson is training his 15, 16-year-old son. Man,
Oh
listen.
Lord.
Listen. The speed and the power his son got at 15 years old, now big boy stick with this man, we just might see a reincarnation of Mike Tyson, bro.
And it's funny because I know one time he was saying that he didn't really want his kids to get into boxing because he felt like you had to have a certain type of dog in you. And he said that his kids didn't grow up like that with that mentality of
Yeah,
having that
he
dog in them.
did. He did, but
So
he
so
said he go down in the basement and he said it's a bag hung up down there. You got the things that you hit like that down there. And he said, I ain't put
hmm
that down there. Who been doing this? Oh man.
yeah.
He said, his wife said, oh yeah, he be training all the time. He started out
hmm
training, but just by doing shadow boxing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and, Mike was like,
Mhm.
it was too late to stop him anyway, cause he was gonna go to the gym anyway, with or without me. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. That's how your kids
but
be sometimes.
and the Lakers lose the third straight tonight.
Yeah, man. I don't know what's going on. Like it seemed like I know like LeBron was out for like a couple of weeks, and so he's probably trying to still get his legs back. But in the Royal, he was out for a good month. So I'm thinking the chemistry is off right now. Something. I was watching the game earlier, and they just don't look like together like they was before everybody got hurt. So maybe it's gonna take them a couple of games to kind of get that sense of urgency back. But
I'm
hopefully they'll
thinking
get
that
it together.
I'm thinking that JJ ain't good as coach that people making him out to be.
Well, that could be the case, but we're gonna take one last break and we're gonna talk about that and something else on the other end. Okay, we back here on 914. You might be right about JJ. I mean, well, I ain't gonna necessarily. It's hard to say right now because you really don't know. You really don't know how good a coach is to the playoffs when he have to really. Because really, what makes a coach a great coach is in the playoffs when you have to adjust from game to game. Anybody can
That's
beat
true.
anybody on any given night. But when you get in them playoffs and you got to play for somebody 7 games and in one game they beat you and then how you come back that next game to adjust and all that kind of stuff, that's what makes a great coach a great coach or whatever, whether they win the series or not, like a Tyrone Lue kind of made his name in the playoffs because of the fact the way he could mix up his what he does. So this is what I want to talk about before we get out of here. I want to talk about just real quick the situation with Bronny James last week. He had his first big game in the NBA. Played 30 minutes, so he played
Hmm.
meaningful minutes and had meaningful points. And even though they got blown out, but that's because everybody was out. Literally, everybody was damn near out. They didn't play. But the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because somebody asked me. I was in a car wash. I was in a detail shop last week, and this guy just came up to me and asked me out the blue, didn't know him from a can of paint, what I thought about Bronny James. And I said, well, it's all about opportunity because at the end of the day, no matter who his dad is, he still have to have an opportunity to get need the opportunity to get on the floor. And I think it was you that said this. It might have been you or somebody said this was you can see he's gotten better since the beginning of the season.
I
He's
did say
gotten a
that.
lot better. His confidence is better. His confidence is up. His jump shot. He's actually a better shooter at this point in his career than his dad is. As far as he got a mid-range game, he can shoot
Excuse me.
threes. He can take it off the bounce to the cup, which LeBron can do that. But I'm just saying he already has like a natural type of jump shot already. You know what I'm saying? Because you could tell he's been working on his game, and that's all you can ask from a young man. The man is only 19 years old. Yeah, everybody act like he's 25 to 26 years old. He's 19, maybe 20. He might be 20, but still, he's still well. He's too young for us to really say what he can and can't be in the NBA yet. It doesn't make it when people always saying he's not gonna be good or he gonna be average and he might be. How y'all know? Y'all don't know that. You know what I mean? Y'all do not know that. So. But anyway,
Man, I just wish him the best, man. I'm glad he got off, and I look forward to seeing more great games from him.
yeah, me too. That's why I root for him probably more than I do any other player in the NBA, just because I don't like the narrative, the feel that make that man like you know they scrutinize him way too much for him to be a 55th overall pick for one.
Right.
Bronny James wasn't a lottery pick. He wasn't first round. You got other players out there with first round picks who get nowhere near the scrutiny that he gets, and it's not fair to him at all. You know what I mean? So I definitely I root for him every step of the way. But anyway, shout out our affiliate, Zeno X FM, 191 countries. But like I said, tell everybody, I'm gonna speak out again. We got a big announcement coming here very soon. So y'all about to see a lot of big things about to pop off. You know what I mean? It's already been kind of manifesting itself already.
Right. Right.
But y'all gonna see me and Jacob take this thing to another level. It's time. You know what I mean? We appreciate all our core fans, but it's time to take this thing to another level. Start drawing in, start drawing on them bigger fans. We about to go from the store church the storefront church to the mega church.
Yes,
Take
sir.
place away.
Yes,
That's
sir.
all. That's
Yes,
all
sir.
I can explain. That's all. Only way I can explain it. Whatever they do for people to really understand where we about to go. But
That's right.
anyway, man, it was a great show. Um, whatever. It's been a long day for me, so I'm about to lay it down here in a minute. You know what I'm saying? So if I come off a little off tonight, then I apologize. But I tried to do as best I could tonight. But it's been a long day. But anyway, y'all, man, I appreciate y'all watching. and catch y'all on the next one.
One.